Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Today I'm just going to show you some lower body exercises and then how to add that resistance using a variety of different bands, as I know we all have different equipment available to us at the moment. So I'm going to show you a squat first. So starting with this band, if you take a stand on the band and then you want to squat down, and you should be able to hook it over your head and just sit it on the back of your neck there, so right at the bottom where your shoulders start, where it's a little squidgy, so where you'd normally sort of put the barbell if you're doing barbell squats. Now, to get into your squat position, so feet about shoulder width apart, keep that weight through your heels, really keep that core braced because this band is going to be pulling you, you need to work against it. Shoulders back, chest nice and tall, and then you're going to push through the legs to stand tall, back down aiming to get to the 90-degree mark, keeping that weight through your heels. So if I just shuffle to the side, you can see from the side, so I'm standing nice and tall, sitting back into the squat, keeping that core braced, because that band will be pulling you forwards a little bit. Okay, and then to come out of it, you can either step out or you can squat back down and hook it back over. If that feels a little bit hard, you can just stand in and hold. Obviously, the lower down you hold, the more resistance you're going to add. So moving on to this band. So it's very similar to what I just last showed you. You stand in the band, you hold the band, and that will add some resistance to your squat. So the technique's exactly the same, just slightly different where you add the resistance. So with the little band, if you want to use this in your squats, you just put it round the top of the knee, like so, and then exactly the same technique. So what to watch for with this is the band is obviously pulling in, you need to push out against the band. You'll probably feel that a little bit more through the glutes as you're pushing out. So that is your squat. I'm going to move on to a deadlift now. So I'm going to show you with these two bands, and they're very similar. So with the thicker band, to start with, so with this, just make sure it's untangled. You want to loop it round, so you've got two loops, and then stand in 1 foot in each loop. Move back, then you can see that. So now you're imagining this is your barbell. Okay, so into your deadlift position, squeeze up, squeeze up. So it adds quite a bit of resistance. So I'll show you from the side. Start in that deadlift position, so your back's nice and straight, your hips are back, your weight's through your heels, your shoulders are back. Stand to upright. And keep that core nice and engaged. So very similar with this band to the squat. So you just stand on it, holding the band for that resistance, but unlike the squat, you're going to pivot a little bit more at them hips to give you your deadlift. Again, quickly from the side. Like so. Perfect. So the other band you wouldn't really use in a deadlift. So the next one we're going to have a little look at are glute bridges and hip thrusts. Now they're very similar. Glute bridges are on the floor, hip thrusts you just raise your shoulders a little bit. So again, going back to this band to start with. So I'll show you the hip thrust first. I'm going to just use the end of my sofa to prop up a little bit. Tilt the screen slightly. So take a seat on the floor. You want to get your band in 2 hoops again and place them around your feet like so. So this is a little bit of a tricky bit. So you want to pull the band up so it is on your hips, okay? Shoulders are resting on the sofa or a footstool or a coffee table, maybe with a cushion on the end, whatever you've got available. Keep the weight through your heels. You don't want that band slipping off. And then you're going to push, squeeze up through the glutes against that resistance. So when you're up, you might just want to pull it so that it's on that hip and you're squeezing with the glutes against that resistance. Okay, so it might just take a couple of reps just to get your positioning on this one. So you're squeezing up with the glutes, supporting through the core. Make sure you hold a few seconds at the top. So if I quickly show you the glute bridge alternative. So it is just lead on the floor, and then it's exactly the same movement. So just watch on this one as well, that your knees aren't creeping in, make sure you drive them out. So quickly with this one, again, you can do it either or. I'll just show you the glute bridge variation, but you could do it on the edge of the sofa. Pop the band on the hips. This time you're just going to hold it down with your hands, if you can see there, and squeeze up against the band. Again, driving out with the knees. Like so. So again, we can bring this band in on this one. You can do either or, hip thrusts or glute bridges. So again, it's literally just at the top of my knee, just at the top there. Back into position. So this time make sure you squeeze out because that band's pulling in, okay? So push out through the knees, squeeze up into position, lower it back down. So another little one you can add with this one is an abduction. So squeeze up, squeeze out, squeeze in, back down. Up, out, in, and down. And the idea is as you squeeze out, you keep squeezing up so you don't get a drop through the hips. So we're going to move on now to Romanian deadlifts, so RDLs, as you might know them. And I'll show you with these two bands here. So again, very similar to your deadlift, exactly the same positioning with the bands, but I'll quickly show you the technique. 2 hoops, 1 foot in each hoop. Then you're treating it as a barbell, okay? So deadlift up to the top, just to protect your back, and then your RDL, you just have a slight knee bend, okay? So taking it down till you feel that pull through the hamstrings at the back, squeezing up. Squeezing up. Squeezing up. Okay. And then quickly with this one, exactly the same as the deadlift, just stand on the band. The lower down you are, the more resistance it's going to be. Deadlift it up to the top, and then RDL, so slight bend through the knee, pivot from the hips. Keeping the back nice and straight and the core engaged. So this one's going to work through that hamstrings and glutes. Main thing with that is don't go too low. Go as low as what you can go without having to bend your knee further or arch through the shoulders or the back, okay? It'll depend on your hamstring flexibility. Go down till you feel that pull through the back of the leg in the hamstring. Okay, so the next one we're going to do is split squats. So I'll show you with this one first. So a split squat is like a lunge, but we're not moving, we're static. So I'm going to show you this one side on. So you want to stand just with the front leg through the band, because the work is going to be through this front leg. That's where the focus needs to be, is through this front heel. Keep a hold of the band, okay? And then you're going to take it down. You're aiming for 90 degrees at both knees. Push up through that front leg. Keep in that posture. Don't let that band pull you forwards. Keep that posture and push up. That's it. So don't forget to do both legs. Okay, and then quickly with this band. So because it's quite thick, I'd probably just have it once. If you really wanted to test yourself, you could double it up. That would be a pretty strong resistance there. Or you can keep it as a single strap and just hold it like you did with the other, just let the other bit side dangle. Like so. So you should be feeling this through the front leg, you should feel it up into the glute and quads. So it's quite an all-round exercise is that one. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly show you another exercise with big bands and then just a few you can do with the little band. So just some abductions that you can do. So this is going to work down the outside of the glute. Just standing your band, you want to keep one leg planted and the other leg's going to do the work. Slight bend in both knees. Keep a hold of the band and you pull out against the band. So you won't get too much movement with this sort of resistance, but you will feel it through that glute at the outside. So remember to do both sides. Keep your core squeezed to try and stop your torso moving. So you'll see it'll be a little bit easier with this because it's a little bit slacker. So again, standing in. So you can get a bit bigger movement with this. And then don't forget the other side. So keeping both legs slightly bent, really squeeze through the outside, the bum. Awesome. So that's the exercise with them. I'll just show you a couple you can do with this one. So I showed you the glute bridge abduction, so that's one. So two more, you can do crab walks, okay? So if you've just got a small space, you can just do one step one way and one back the other. So you want to put the band again just above the knees, take a little squat down and squeeze out against the band. Okay, so you don't need too much room for this. If you've got a little bit more room, you can walk a little bit further. Like so. So as you're doing that, you want to make sure you're driving the knees out. While I've got this on, you can actually do the abduction one that we just did with this. So if you put the band at the bottom, it works exactly the same. And then the final one I'm going to show you today is clamshells. Again, just above the knee, this time we're let down, so I'll try and fit in this way, then you can see properly. So legs out, and you're opening up from the hip joint, squeezing with the glute here. Squeeze out, slowly back in. So don't let the band pull you back in. Make sure that the muscles are doing the work. So again, don't forget to swap and do it on the other side. Awesome, so that's your exercises for today. It should be an all-round lower body workout. Use what equipment you've got, okay? If your bands are a little bit light, increase the reps a little bit, put some holds in, slow the pace down, okay? If they're a little bit heavy, just drop the reps a little bit, okay? Work with what you've got. Roughly the rep ranges you're looking at, somewhere from about 8 up to about maybe 15 if you've got quite a light band. And then set-wise, 3 to 4 sets should work quite nicely. And you can even put it in a bit of a circuit fashion or superset, so do the exercises back to back and that'll increase that intensity a little bit further still if you need it. If you've got any questions, let me know. Thanks.